Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to be talking about Sorcerer's Legacy by Janny Wurts. And I was really excited to get to this. This is one of Janny Wurts' earliest books. I can't remember if this is the first one or not, or it's right around there at least. This was a very, very early one when this originally came out. This is a newer printing, but one of the older ones. And ever since falling in love with Janny Wurts from Cycle of Fire and from Morris of Light and Shadow even more so, I've been really excited to read more of her stuff. And so I wanted to try out some of her earlier, kind of shorter, quicker things. And this one definitely fit the bill. This is a quite short book. It is right around 300 pages and is really easy to get through for the most part. And I just want to talk about, because although this is very different from her later stuff, especially Wars of Light and Shadow, it's also just the amount of things that she's able to do in this was so surprising in a great way. So this book is about the Lady Eliane, and it packs a lot right in the start. So she is a very recently widowed a woman of a duke who is killed as an invading force takes over the country that they're in completely, and she's basically going to be imprisoned and or enslaved as a result of this. But a sorcerer named Iolon comes to her and offers to take her to another land if she will agree to be married to the prince there, who needs to be married and produce an heir in order to receive the throne. And she has just become pregnant the night before and didn't know it yet, and is not going to be able to, for anybody to be able to tell magically early enough. And so that's kind of the base part of the plot there. So that's, I know, kind of complex, and that's just, we're just going off like basic information, the blurb there. There's a lot going on. And it shows that this does so much. I don't think I've ever seen in such a fairly quick-paced, short 300-page book, like I said, as much of a complex political plot be put in here that's tied in with the magic as well. And this, I would say, almost feels sword and sorcery, but it's not the sword part so much as the sorcery. This uses a lot of looks at sorcery, both on the side of people who aren't evil, and then black sorcery, the evil side, and so we see a lot of that as well. And just the complex political situations here, and the relationships and the characters, and the amount of character growth that Janny Wurts is able to get here once again in a short amount of time, and especially because the main character is just one of the most badass female characters that I have read. She is just in an impossible situation to begin with, and then she's put in an even more impossible situation, and really has to just try to figure it out, because she's the only one who is in place who can do anything to potentially help in a lot of situations that she's put in, and she just goes through it, and she goes through a lot in this book, kind of from start to finish. She's going through a lot. I was able to come through and to make it work, and just her character, as well as some of the other side characters, but her character and the way that she's written is just like, it's like the strong female character that the author doesn't have to try and tell you, like, oh, they're a strong female character. Like, no, it's just, you see that because of the character and who she is, and the way that the character is written and the actions that she takes. And it's just really nice, because in any other story, I feel like, and with very, very small changes to this story, this could very easily be the damsel princess, she's rescued and now is going to marry the prince and everything's going to be okay. And that is not the case here. She might be rescued from one fate, but she is thrust immediately into a very complicated situation, where the fate in some ways could almost be worse. And so it's just crazy, the situations that are put in here. And I will say, this book does get a bit dark at times. It gets quite dark at times toward the end, and part of that's the fact that it's dealing with black sorcery, which feels to be rooted somewhat in the occult, as we think about it in our world, involves sacrifice and blood and things like that. So there are a few things, especially, I know there's one thing in the end that seemed to be very controversial for a lot of people, and that they wish it would not have happened, which I can kind of see. I sort of expected it, because it was set up, and there are some prophecies here, and it plays around with the prophecies a bit, because the characters might not necessarily understand what they fully mean, but some things that are said toward the beginning here and that are set up, you kind of feel like some dark stuff is going to happen, and then you end up getting it. But like I said, just the characters and the way that they're done, there also is a romance in here. I wouldn't say it's the focus, although I noticed the way the blurbs are written does make it seem like it's supposed to probably be more romance heavy than it is, which just goes back to that whole conversation about female authors and having the romance parts usually, shoved into the forefront because they think that's what people want. But the romance that is here is not a traditional romance by any means, but the two characters we get it between, it seems to happen very organically, and it's very messy and complicated, but I actually really enjoyed that part, and I'm not a romance fan, so I wanted to mention that as well, that I actually really enjoyed the way that it was done in this book. It was really interesting because it showed us so much about the characters that we were exploring. And some of the other characters here as well, including the prince and some of the sorcerers, and some other characters as well that become a little bit more important later. The amount of character development we get into them, I really like, and also while just keeping the plot moving, because we do learn a lot about the characters, and there's, like I said, very complicated political maneuverings and plots and the battles of sorcery and things like that going on, but we tend to be moving pretty quickly, and especially at so many parts, the tension is so high, and you can just feel the tension building towards something happening, even when everything seems quiet in the book. And so I feel like just made it really, really easy to fly through. This actually took me a lot longer than it should have to read, because I just had a week where I got like no reading on any format done. And then as soon as I jumped back to it, I finished the last 100 pages in a very short part of a day. I'm like, oh, I can definitely finish this tonight. I only have 100 pages. I was done before like the afternoon. Just went through so fast. So really is, I think, a very quick read. It's interesting. It's definitely kind of an old school style fantasy story, but telling it in a different way with more complex plots and more complex characters that are really, really well written. And so I definitely recommend checking this out. This is not, I will say, it's not particularly like the other work from Janny Wurts that I've read. Very different from Wars of Light and Shadow, and Cycle of Fire as well, which is also very different from Wars of Light and Shadow. It is a standalone, and it, I think, works here. I know I was looking at some reviews afterwards, some people said that they would love to see a follow-up, but I think it really did accomplish what it was trying to accomplish very well, and so I think this works super well as a standalone for it as well. But if you're interested in just giving Janny Wurts a try, trying something a little bit different, keeping in mind that this is not going to give you a super good feel for her later work, this being quite different, definitely some of the earlier, but still really well written, really great characters and plotting, and so there's a lot of great stuff here as well. So that's really it. I'm interested to check out more of her standalones, just continue my journey of reading everything that she's ever written, and we'll definitely continue to do so, but that is it for this one. Let me know, I know some other people read this. We did a little bit of a buddy read in Discord, or your thoughts on this, or if this is one that you're going to be checking out. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the link in the description, as always, for the Wizardly Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books, any books, really anything at all. It's a lot of fun, and we'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.